Hi everybody, thank you for tuning in again to the latest video. This is, as far as static lifts go, going to be my last heavy session before going to Iceland and attempting to pick up the Husafell stone and walk it around the pen. So this, as those will see, the setup here. Because I do get questions and people question all kinds of things. Firstly, from the top, why am I wearing bandages on my elbows? Okay, I have a little bit of bicep tendonitis in one elbow, and I have a little bit of tricep tendonitis in the other one, and just a little bit of compression. I've got capsaicin cream on both of them, and the elbow pads, those elbow tubular bandages just kind of help it react a little bit by keeping it warm, and it makes the area hot, which kind of gives me a bit of relief. The setup of the equipment, I'm using a medium height box, not quite to parallel. I'm not bothered about getting down to parallel at the moment. It's not something I'm overly concerned with. So that's just above parallel. That is a bow bar, which weighs about 30 kilos, a bit heavier than a normal one, and it's just a bit more comfortable on your shoulders. The ripped shorts, well, that's no one's business, other than the fact that my arse is too big. After you'll see, actually, with a couple of these squats, I am trying to remember what the best height for those spotter arms is, and in between the breaks of the video, you can see there my arms are touching it and causing it a bit of difficulty. I'll rack this, and then you'll see as the weights go on for the next set, they're a bit lower automatically because I've just cut the bit where I am lowering them. There's no need to see them. Anyway, I'm working up to 230 kilos on this, which is nowhere near my best squat, but it is still a reasonably heavy squat. Didn't want to risk anything popping or pinging or injury. 230 for a nice single with compression. The compression I had on was my strongman belt, my SBD leather belt, and knee wraps, Elite FTS knee wraps. Again, not sponsored by any of these people, but though that's the setup that I use. So I worked up to 230 and then did some rack pulls and worked up to 260. I actually worked up to 300 as I started to put the horsepower through the bar from just below knee height. I felt I could have done it, but as I started to rev up, as you do when you're trying to get that power up, I thought I'm pulling something here that I think I can do, but there's just no point in risking an injury so close. So anyway, you'll see me going up to 260, and that'll be where we are with that. Subsequently done some grip, and then moving forward tomorrow, my mate is coming over, Ross, with a yoke, so I'm going to do work up to some heavy stuff there. I'll be working up to about 200 kilos for the same distance that I'll be carrying a Husafell stone, and then I'll be doing a couple of Zercher carries with it for about the same distance, and that will about see me done for heavy stuff before Husafell. Next week will just be kind of not a deload, but just going up to probably 80%, and then we fly out on Sunday, and then on the Tuesday we go and have a look. Something else to talk about here. For those of you that were able to watch the last video, which I dedicated to my friend John, there is a sad update. On Tuesday morning at about 3 a.m. in the morning, John passed. For those that weren't up to date, he'd been taken to hospital on the Friday, hadn't been feeling too well after a few weeks with what he thought was a pain in his back round about where his shoulder blade area was. Turned out to be his kidneys failing. He then went to hospital and They scanned him and did some blood tests and discovered that not only were his kidneys failing, his liver was failing, his heart was failing, his lungs were going, and they put him in an induced coma. We were out in the pub on Monday night, just waiting for news, because the landlord of the pub is one of his best friends as well. He came back from the hospital about 10 or 11 o'clock. We waited for news. Now, Monday, when John was in the induced coma, on the induced coma, was his 66th birthday, when he could have started drawing his pension. And whilst we were waiting for news, he lay dying in hospital. And round about 3 o'clock the next morning, he passed. Just too much to recover from. For those that haven't watched that video, and for those that are hearing this for the first time and are still with us, I want to go over something that I said. John's favourite phrase was, in a deep voice that he had, "Man up, you soft cunt, man up." Regardless of what it was, whether it was sniffles, feeling a bit under the weather, whatever it was, his thing was always man up. Manning up eventually killed him. Manning up, just trying to suffer these things quietly and not doing anything about it, eventually killed him. I said it previously and I'll say it again. There is nothing manly about not getting help. The most manly thing you can do is seek help when something isn't right. If there's a problem with your car, you go and see a mechanic. If there is a problem with the roof on your house and it's leaking, you get a builder in. You know, if you need to lose a little bit of weight and you're not sure what to do, you go and see somebody in a gym that can help you out, like a personal trainer or a coach. All of these things, we seem to have no problem with going and listening and getting other people in to help us. And yet as soon as it's our health, we seem to think that it'll be okay and it'll fix itself, and we don't want to ask someone, so we man up. That is not manning up. That is not responsible. And it can cost you everything, as John found out, or didn't find out, as it turns out. Get help. If you're not feeling right or something is wrong, don't try to man up. Try to get fixed. That's the most important lesson. Anyway, coming to the end of this video now, and I hope to see you all for the next one. Bye-bye.